Well, greetings and welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 Canine Run Episode 2. Now, the reason why I make this video is because there's things I want to do in my life, and also just because my heart straight up felt like it, and I want to show and tell that I want to do these things in my life. As you can see here, the aircraft is not really cold and dark because I have the external power connected. And of course, even though the FAA, for Federal Aviation Administration, had denied my medical for autism 10 years ago, I'm making this video to show and tell that I want a special issuance pilot license for my autism. And of course, I'm not enrolling in any post-secondary school until or unless I have earned my special issuance pilot license for extra credits, of course. And in this video, as you're seeing here, I'm going to go ahead and start the plane from cold and dark to show that I want it. And if I'm to do any operations with the BAE 146 in real life, I'd rather transfer dogs, but bear in mind that this scenario is fictional. So what I have here is I'm selecting the batteries. And of course I have the external power connected. Well, I didn't show it because that would be fluff. Maybe in the future gameplay I'll show it. Alright. I just turned on the batteries. I told you I got the gist from glider encampments in 2013 and 14. Of course, what I'm doing here is basically the checklist I followed from those gliders I had flown. And I've been around some very good instructor pilots, and they've shown and told me how to do these things. And of course, here I am in a BAE 146, quiet trader, Avroliner, or whisper jet, whatever you want to call it. And if I'm to fly the whisper jet at all, I'd rather fly it for Good Samaritan purposes. And the purpose for these fictional canine runs is to show and tell, especially the FAA, that I want it. And of course, there's still room for improvement along the way, as you can see here. And I don't mind, of course, never going solo in the real thing. And I'm totally alright with that. Because in 2014, I also suffered from pericarditis. And I make this video to show and tell that a special issuance pilot license is what I want. And reason? For Good Samaritan purposes like this one in the video. So alright, as you can see here again, I'm of course starting from cold and dark. And of course the external power was connected for those of you who saw the green lights to begin with in the video. And now, of course, I'm going to fly from Albuquerque, New Mexico to Dulce. And the reason, another session of canine therapy. Now lately, of course, I've been flying the BAE 146 in the colors I have here, mostly out of heart's desire. Meaning because I felt like it again, and I want to express it again. I will now turn my attention to air traffic control, so narration will pause.
Albuquerque Airport information, India 1300 Zulu. Wind 082 at 4. Visibility, 9er. Sky condition, few clouds at 4,600 feet, ceiling 13,000 feet broken. Temperature, 15. Dew point, 1 tree. Altimeter, 29.902. ILS runway 8 in use. Landing and departing runway 8. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact, you have India.
Clearance delivery Canine Transport 549er ready to copy IFR clearance to 24 November.
Canine Transport 549er is cleared to 24 November Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 8 climb and maintain 12,000 feet. Departure frequency is 123.9er squawk 7167.
Canine Transport 549er cleared to 24 November Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 8 climb and maintain 12,000 feet. Departure on 123.9er squawk 7167.
Canine Transport 549er readback is correct. Contact ground on 121.9er when ready to taxi. Good day.
Okay, now that that's out of the way, of course I'm checking the control surfaces to make sure they're free. Yes, it's going to be very bright up there, so I'm going to put the visors up once the oxygen is on. Yes, due to high exposure to sun, that's why they're on. Now I made it dawn and made the wind direction to make runway 8 the active runways because I felt like it too. Yes, let some air in the cockpit. Alright. Now that being the case, I'm going to test the cockpit voice recorder. And now, of course, let's see if we can get going in a minute or two. Alright, I'm going to do an outside check. It appears that the control surfaces are still frozen, but they were moving in the cockpit. How ironic. Or is it? Well, the dawn looks beautiful on the jet, for one thing. And yes, I'm still making sure that the control surfaces have free movement, and no one else knows the struggle or really necessarily cares. Or do they? Alright, so as I look around some more, it appears that the aircraft is checking out. Now I'm going to go in the cabin, see how the dogs are doing. I think they all look good. So in a minute or two, I will, of course, request pushback. Actually, I'll request taxi and pushback. Then from there, takeoff clearance. So, alright. You know, the BAE 146 Avroliner, Quiet Trader, Whisper Jet, or whatever you want to call it, is actually my favorite of all the little jets. Because I find it interesting that it's a small C5 Galaxy, to name one matter.
Hold position American Niner 41.
Albuquerque ground Canine Transport 549er with India ready to taxi IFR.
Canine Transport 549er taxi to and hold short of runway 8 using taxiway Alpha. Contact tower on 123.775 when ready.
Taxi to and hold short runway 8 via taxiway Alpha Canine Transport 549er.
American Niner 41 hold position.
Alright, now that I've requested for taxi, I'm going to go ahead and request for pushback, as you can see here. As in, you see that little truck in front of the airplane? That's what's going to push the airplane back.
Niner 41 continue taxi. American Niner 41 hold position caution the departing Beechcraft King Air.
Albuquerque ground Canine Transport 549er requesting pushback.
Canine Transport 549er pushback request accepted.
Okay, now that I made the request,
Continue taxi.
I got the little truck, and now it's going to push me back, as you can see here. So while I'm at it, I'll be doing constant checks to make sure that the control surfaces are free, because that's just me. Alright, the truck's locked into position, and we're moving backward now. But only for a certain amount of feet. Alright, while the aircraft is being pushed back, you know, that jet sound you're hearing in real life, just so you know, when you board an aircraft. That is the auxiliary power unit. It's a small jet engine in the tail. Its role is to warm the aircraft up as part of it, and of course, provide power to eventually start the engines as I'm moving away from the gate, as well as, other jets. Passenger jets, like the one I have here and the ones around me.
Canine Transport 549er, hold position, caution, other traffic.
That transmission given to me just now, I'll tell you what, in Microsoft Flight Simulator X, you had to acknowledge it. But now in FS 2020, you can't. What's the deal about that? Alright, while I'm at it too, I will admit that the piece of equipment I was using was an Oculus Quest 2 for virtual reality.
Canine Transport 549er, continue taxi.
Alright, on my end, Roger, Canine Transport 549er.
Albuquerque Ground Canine Transport 549er requesting pushback tug to steer the aircraft to the right.
Canine Transport 549er, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
Alright, as we're doing that, I'm also going to request the tug to stop the aircraft, and then I will start the engines.
Albuquerque Ground Canine Transport 549er requesting the end of pushback.
Canine Transport 549er, request to end pushback received.
Now I'm safely away from the gate. I'm of course going to start the engines. But first let me do the procedures as seen fit here. Parking brake set, for one matter. Now I go to the ceiling. I'm going to go ahead and select the batteries as seen fit. And of course I will start with engine number 4. Or will I? Let's see. Well, it looks like I am. I will start engine 4. As you can see here. Engine 4 is in the process of being started. Now I have to check the ICAS to make sure it's true. Yes, runway 8. I know where that is. Okay, so now let's take a look at the ICAS again, or let's just start the engine from here. Alright, so this might take a minute or two. I'll bear in mind too that I've seen Little Mammoth Media's Big Plane Trip a number of times, so now I understand what the narrator meant by saying when the plane is safely away from the gate, the first officer starts the engines. One at a time. But me, on the other hand, I'm of course an acting pilot of some kind. Or am I?
American Niner 41, hold position, caution.
So as you can see here,
Space Airliner on the taxiway.
of course I'm not a pilot in real life from time of recording, but I'm making this video to prove that I want it. I'm starting the jet. Please show me and tell me what I can stand or do better, because, you know, it was really on my heart to make this video, and of course, I want to improve. Especially because, you know, throughout the flight, you're going to be hearing alarms go off, and I want to keep them silent, especially for short hops. And the best reason I have on file as to why I want to make these short hops using the Whisperjet, Avroliner, or whatever you want to call the BAE 146, it's because Norway uses them, for one thing. Especially for short hops. Now, they do that because of the fjords. Meaning, you know, some mountains, of course, with water running through them. Not to mention, I also want to be a promise keeper. Like in this video, this is a fictional promise of me bringing some dogs from Canine Companions and those other organizations from Chapter 1 to Dulce again for some dog therapy. This time I brought another wave of dogs in for dog therapy. And of course, I want to, bring the dogs as fast as I can to Dulce, which is Hikaria Apache, whatever you want to call it. For that matter, I chose the Quiet Trader, Avroliner, or Whisperjet to bring those dogs fast. Now you might ask, why not use the Concorde? It's because of this. Too fast and too high profile for such a short hop. Alright, at this point, it sounds like the jet's ready to go. So while I'm at it, of course, I'm going to go to runway 08, following those blue arrows here. Just like a spokesperson that you might have seen on Channel 1 News. The one who got in that car full of reckless teens. And he's the guy who said that reckless driving was the #1 cause for teenage deaths. He's like, slow down, you don't have to die. And then the teens agree to it. And narrator says, in the real world, there is no spokesperson to prevent reckless driving. There's only you. Speak up. But in this case, it's Flight Simulator. There's the beauty of it. You get to have helpers. And of course, I view these blue arrows that I'm going to follow as such thing. Although I know Albuquerque Airport real well, so sometimes I purposely set the condition to go to runway 08 because that's something I'm comfortable with and I'm trying to entertain an external audience. So as I move, I'm going to go ahead and discuss the emergency procedures for once. So alright, the takeoff speed is 120 knots, which is V2. And of course, if I have an engine failure before V1, of course, which is 80 knots, I will land straight ahead. I will close the throttle, and I will yield to oncoming traffic. And then from there, or if I have an engine failure at V2, and after I've taken off, which is 120 knots, I will come back the way I came in. If I do not get past the Marriott in Uptown. And if I get past the Marriott in Uptown and I have an emergency, like an engine failure, or a complete failure of some kind, I will land the aircraft at Coronado Airport. Otherwise, aircraft's looking good. Or is it? Let me know in the comment box below what I can stand or do better. Then from there, explain to me how I could entertain y'all better.
Albuquerque ground envoy tree 678 requesting the end of pushback.
Alright, looks like we had some trouble with engine 3. I thought the aircraft was ready to go, but no, not quite. So I will, of course, start engine 3 as best I can. Then from there, move the aircraft as seen fit.
Envoy tree 678 taxi 2 and hold short of runway 8 using taxiway Romeo Echo Papa cross runway 26 Papa Echo cross runway tree 5 Echo Alpha. Contact tower on 123.775 when ready. Taxi 2 and hold short runway 8 via taxi.
Alright, while the outside chatter is taking place, I'm going to go ahead and program the autopilot as I see fit. Like in this case, it's the altitude I'm supposed to be cruising at, per ATC instructions. The altitude is 12,000 feet, as you can see here. The altitude that ATC wanted me to fly to. I also apologize for the alarms, as you can, of course, hear. The reason why I say this is because I have some get-there-itis, and I want to make sure that I could get this thing moving, just like the Norwegians would expect, or anyone really. Alright, it appears that I wasn't ready to move the aircraft after all. So the control surfaces look good. And it looks like, they will close in a minute or two. We'll bury it now. Alright, I'm going to look around the aircraft to see if it is alright. And still good to go, because during pushback, I don't know if either the aircraft hit something because the tug pushed the aircraft into it, or maybe I hit something as I was turning the aircraft. Correction, or I requested the tug to turn the aircraft. Alright, as you can see here, I'm showing and telling you from the cockpit. This is how we make sure the control surfaces have free movement. And again, while I wait for engine number 3 to spool up, I'm going to admit that I like Albuquerque and runway 08 because it's something I'm used to. And of course, Albuquerque basically is my home airport when I play Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, it's mostly Coronado, but sometimes I go to the Sunport when I really feel like it. Now, the reasons why I ask for improvement of what I can say and or do better in my videos is because I enjoy entertaining external audiences, and I want to go ahead and make my pieces of media better. Truth be told, this video was actually made from scratch because I really wanted to fly to Dulce again using this aircraft and livery. Engine 3 is just about ready and, of course, spooled up all the way. Alright, now I'm sure I'm going to move the aircraft. At this point, I'm going to go by Taxiway Alpha 1, as Microsoft Flight Simulator X called it. But in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, it still looks like the Albuquerque Sunport in real life. And, of course, in other flight simulators I've played. I know where to go from here and how to get there. So now I'm, of course, swinging a left to go to the hold short point. And then from there I will request for takeoff clearance. Alright, I'm positioning the aircraft now. We're at runway 08. All I have to do is hold short, receive instructions. Pressure request and receive instructions. Then from there, get you all out of here as fast as I can. I'm at the hold short. Other alternative airports are as follows. If, of course, I'm too close to the mountains, the South San Diaz, that is, I'll just take this thing to Moriarty. And if I'm further out west, I will take it to Double Eagle Airport. Alright, if I'm at the halfway point to Santa Fe, I'll just take it to Santa Fe Municipal Airport. Or if I'm past Santa Fe, I'll find some other airport, and or if, of course, I have to land out off airport, this could be anywhere, I'll find the nearest sparse, open, friendly area. And otherwise, this aircraft should be good to go from here. So I will request takeoff clearance in a minute or two. Alright, as I'm at the hold short here, and hence the word hold short, I am holding short to make sure that there's no other traffic coming. And if there is, I'm going to get away from it as fast as I can. So as you can see here, I'm doing some final checks. Like I've observed on some YouTube videos, like of some pilots doing real operations, even though I just have a gist of what they do, I don't have their whole routines down. Now bear in mind, from time of recording, I'm of course a pilot wannabe. Of course in a good way. Alright, so outside, we're going to do one more check. Alright, here's a final control surface check. Then from there, I'll request clearance for takeoff. Alright, at this point, I request clearance for takeoff. Alright. All cabin crew, canine handlers, prepare for takeoff.
Albuquerque Tower Canine Transport 549 are ready for departure runway 8 IFR to 24 November.
Canine Transport 549er altimeter 29.9021082 at 4. Cleared for takeoff runway 8.
Cleared for takeoff runway 8 Canine Transport 549er.
Alright, clearance received. I must now taxi into position.
Wingspan 1 heavy 1082 at 4.
Now bearing in mind that I'm hearing about an aircraft cleared to land, I better get out of here as fast as I can.
Cleared to land runway 8 wingspan 1 heavy.
Wingspan 1 heavy is in my way. I gotta get out of here and gotta get out of here quick. Here I go. I'm positioning. Hope I don't have to restart the game. Now having said that, I'm now going to spool up the engines from what you're hearing. Then from there, off to dual say we go. So this is a critical phase, so I'm going to have to talk really serious here about my flying. Let's just see what happens from here. Think soon and very soon, it's speed of life, both sides. 18 knots, cross check. Alright, it appears from here we're about to go to V1, which is decision speed. V1. Rotate. As I lift the nose into the air. Let's see what happens from here. Well, we're off the ground now, so V2. Gear up. Positive rate of climb. We're still not quite at 1,000 feet yet. Doesn't look or feel like it.
Canine Transport 549er, contact Albuquerque departure on 123.9er. Good day. Osway Tree 678, hold short runway 8.
123.9er for Canine Transport 549er.
I'll wait to communicate. You know why?
Hold short runway.
I know my duty. I don't want ATC to lead me into the mountains. Air traffic control, that is. So, just so we don't add to TWA Canyon, I'm going to go ahead and, of course, fly this plane manually out of the Duke. And I know where to go from here. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and pose as one of the passengers here on the airplane.
8 miles west inbound ILS runway 8.
We should be in the cabin right about now.
16 Tango Charlie Albuquerque Tower.
Tell you what, I always wanted to ride in a whisper jet or quiet trader. I still have not done that in my life, but I'm getting it in the simulator, as you can see here. Quite a fun ride, it looks like. Or is it? Canine handlers and everyone else on board. I'll get you to dual say D for Delta, U for Uniform, L for Lima, C for Charlie, E for Echo as fast as I can. Just stand by, alright? I do not want to add to TWA Canyon. Is why I'm flying like this for now. Alright, it's still pretty dark because the shadow of the mountain is still covering the Duke, as you can see here. Oh my! Looks like my artificial horizon is stuck, so no problem. I'll fix that by pressing Control E.
Runway when able.
This is not an emergency. At least it's in the daytime, and I don't have to be in the shoes of those who were aboard Aero Peru Flight 603, which was at night
Wingspan 1 heavy contact.
when the aircraft crashed
1.9er.
in the Pacific Ocean off of Lima.
Runway tree 678 altimeter.
Peru, that is.
29er, decimal 9er 2, wind 0.
This is from Air Disasters Flying Blind,
Cleared for takeoff runway.
where reassuringly we're flying in the daytime. Alright, so I'm getting out of the Duke, so I'm going to go ahead and talk to air traffic control at this point. Alright, before I do, off to my left, just a Coronado airport. If I have an engine failure, or if there's a complete failure, I will land there. And so far it appears I don't, despite the fact that I had to press Control E. The keyboard shortcut to start the engines, that is. What Control E is.
Albuquerque departure Canine Transport 549er is passing 12,400 feet, descending 12,000 feet.
Southwest 2640 descent and maintain 7,200 feet. Canine Transport 549er Albuquerque departure altimeter 29er decimal 9er to continue as planned. Descend and maintain.
Alright, well in this case, continue as planned. You realize I have dogs on board, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust the speed heading in altitude as I see fit for the time being. Even though there is no slideshow in this video, who here can pretend that I have pretend dogs on board as well as pretend handlers belonging to canine companions, leashes of valor, you name some. Who here can pretend that we're on our way to do dog therapy in Hikaria Apache Nation? Alright, who here could also agree that Norway did a good job at allowing quiet traders and avroliners, or whisper jets, to help people get from place to place?
Canine Transport 549er, please expedite your descent 12,000 feet. Albuquerque approach, generic November 16 Tango Charlie is missed approach at Albuquerque.
A missed approach, I hear. That's not good.
Contact Albuquerque Center on 1 train 2 decimal 8. Good day. Generic 6 Tango Charlie, you are 1 mile northwest. Continue to Alpha Bravo Quebec turning and following heading.
It looks like we're at cruising altitude for a time being. Even then, the alarms are still going off, and I would like them silent, please and thank you. Please comment respectfully on how I can do it for such a short flight. Wait, what? You want me to contact Denver Center? Well, here's yet another beauty of Flight Simulator. You can look at your aircraft/airplane or whatever it is you're flying outside, as you can see here. Yeah, alright, I'll talk to Denver Center.
128.375 for Canine Transport 549er. Denver Center Canine Transport 549er 13,000 feet.
Altimeter 29er decimal 9er to continue as planned. Canine Transport 549er contact Denver Center on 118.575. Good day.
.575 Canine Transport 549er.
Here I am again for a time being, playing my role as a passenger for a brief moment, which will also yet be another beauty of Flight Simulator.
Denver Center Canine Transport 549er 13,000 feet.
Canine Transport 549er, Denver, Center altimeter 29er, decimal 9er 2, continue.
Alright, one thing I'm doing differently in this video is coming through runway 17, Abdul say.
SkyWest 5424, descend and maintain flight level tree 20.
Now me, as the pilot wannabe, will go into the cabin. Looks like everyone's doing good there. And of course the dogs are behaving.
Generic 7 leave us off. You are 7 miles.
That's a good thing, is it?
Generic 2 Juliet Light climb and maintain flight level tree 70. Spirit wings 816 descend and maintain flight level tree 50.
Alright, something tells me to do one more check of those pretense dogs and their handlers. Alright, I think they look good. I'm closing the door now. Okay, with all the background chatter, I'm going to go ahead and prepare for landing at this point.
Spirit wings 816 descend and maintain flight level tree 50.
Alright, so earlier I halted recording so that way I could talk to ATC a little better. And as you can see here, I'm trying to make my way to runway 17 at Dulce in Hikaria Apache Airport, that is. So at this point, I'm trying to get some area so I can land the plane better and hopefully not overshoot the runway. Go to Dulce Airport from here. It's right above these mountains here. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of ATC activity, so I will halt narration for a time being.
Sync break.
Canine Transport 549er contact Denver Center on 118.575. Good day.
118.575 Canine Transport 549er. Denver Center Canine Transport 549er 9,500 feet.
Canine Transport 549er, Denver, Center altimeter 29er, decimal 92, continue as planned. Southwest tree 00 climb and maintain flight level 410.
Terrain ahead.
Climb and maintain flight level 410 Southwest tree 00.
Terrain ahead. Terrain ahead.
FedEx 541 descend and maintain flight level tree 60. Commuter 4247, you are 9 miles northeast. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Expect ILS runway. Ready approach by Delta Lowy. Canine Transport 549er, you are 300 feet below your assigned altitude. Climb and maintain 9,600 feet altimeter 29er decimal 92.
Sync break. Terrain ahead.
Climb and maintain 9,600 feet Canine Transport 549er.
Well, I'm back, letting you know that these are complete mistakes. Of course I have the runway in sight.
Canine Transport 549er
I just pressed the wrong button there. So we're going in.
Canine Transport 549er.
Now, one spoiler alert while we're at it is that there were no flaps. However, I managed to land there safely. And, of course, I averted yet another Atlantic Airways Flight 670, or 670, whatever you want to call it, which was, of course, a BAE 146 that landed on a runway similar to what I landed on, what I've landed on, and not to mention that the aircraft fell off a cliff, and of course crashed, and a wet runway is part of it, and an icy runway is part of it too, but not this time. Made it to Dulce. Let me get to the ramp a little quicker.
Maintain present heading in altitude Canine Transport 549er.
Alright. Should be right on today. Here I am,
Transport 549er
as the promise keeper, bringing dogs and of course their handlers for dog therapy in Hikaria Apache Nation in yet another episode.
Maintain present heading in altitude.
Alright, we're right on today, despite no flaps, but I made it. Alright, we'll turn the aircraft to where I was last time.
132.8 for SkyWest 5424.
There's a marshaller. I will follow the instructions. And as I stop, I'm going to go ahead and order deboard. And one more thing.
Contact Denver Center on 128.375.
Alright.
Good day.
Canine handlers, cabin crew, prepare to deboard. Alright. As I put the control surfaces away, check for damage.
Generic 2 Juliet Mike.
Now time for one more thing. Now on one more thing, I don't really have much to say except yet another heart's desire to fly to Hickory Apache Nation again. Coming in through a different runway. Now the landing was quite eventful. I landed without flaps, and of course I demonstrated the ability to land okay. As well as of course fly okay. And of course, as the video winds down, I'm going to say that this was a flight well worth it. If there's anything you want me to see and or do better, as usual, let me know in the comment box. Things like that.
FedEx 541, descend and maintain.
And as I check for damage,
60.
I'm going to say that I want to be flying the BAE 146 for quite a while. You can take it up with my heart as to why. That's our show. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And I'll see you all around. Thank you for watching. Have an excellent day.